tonight, the mutual release settlement in the matters of Union Township versus Christopher Levy, Intal, and Peters Creek Sanitary Authority, PCSA, filed in Court of Common Pleas of Washington County at docket number 2021-4360, and PCSA versus Union Township filed in the Court of Common Pleas of Washington County at docket number 2022-0046.
Mr. Trax, let me just give a little bit of comment. As each supervisor knows, this is the result of the mediation that we participated in at the direction of Judge Lucas last Friday. At the conclusion of that mediation session, the parties agreed to a settlement of their various claims against each other. In keeping with that, Mr. Bernardo circulated a letter agreement to myself and Attorney Gallagher outlining the terms of the settlement as well as the important documents that would be made part of the settlement and ultimately the court order. Those documents include the ratification of the rules and regulations that were adopted by all of the participating municipalities in the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority dated May of 1971. That document had been missing, and we now identified it, and it's going to be ratified and will control the relationship of the parties. A developer's agreement for the Finleyville-El Rama Road sewer project that will govern the installation of the sewers with grinder pumps, as well as the relationship of the parties and the manner in which these lines are to be installed and inspected, as well as a set of specifications and requirements that deal with the construction for sewer line extension projects. And this was, I believe, revised and or adopted in June of 2021 by the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority. I have reviewed this. It's consistent with the items discussed and agreed to by the parties at the mediation. Attorney Gallagher has reviewed it. I made a full set of these copies available to Mr. Harshman, who will be engineering the project, and he doesn't have any problem and believes these are acceptable and that he can make it work, is what he told me. We have the settlement agreement, the mutual release that needs to be approved and executed. We're scheduled to be in front of Judge Lucas tomorrow morning at 9:30. The attorneys are. I received an email from mediator Tom Breland indicating that if this was not approved and signed by the parties, that all parties, once again, needed to be in court tomorrow morning at 9:30. So that was the stern instruction of Judge Lucas. And I believe that we were able to circulate all of these documents through Ms. Gladys to each of the supervisors for review. I've not heard any questions or comments, so I'm encouraging the board to act favorably on this mediated settlement.
Okay. Is that it, Gary?
Yep.
Okay. I motion to approve the mutual release and settlement in the matters of Union Township versus Christopher Levy et al. In Peters Township, Peters Creek Sanitary Authority, PCSA, filed in the Court of Common Pleas of Washington County, docket number 2021-4360, and PCSA versus Union Township, filed in Court of Common Pleas of Washington County, docket number 2022-0046. That's a motion.
This is Rick. I second the motion.
Roll call.
Okay,
Any deliberation?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
deliberation?
Yes. I didn't know who was
Yeah.
talking. So, I have a question. There's two things that are happening in one motion. And my question is whether or not it doesn't need to be modified into two separate motions. Is one contingent on the other? Is one, there's the mutual release and the settlement in one motion.
I think it's fine because the second part of it involves the injunction, and that those matters are all going to be settled and discontinued once this settlement is presented to the judge tomorrow, and he's then gonna issue a consent order. So he wrapped them all together in the mediation.
Okay. And the other question I have, I went to the Peters Creek Sanitary meeting, at least part of it, but they were making it seem like we all have to be in court tomorrow, regardless of how this
No,
happens tonight. And I
The
just
most
wanna
recent,
ask.
most recent email I have, and I'll show it to you.
I don't wanna break a court
He
order,
said
and
if
I
we
don't wanna
don't-
be there, but I
if-
just wanna make sure.
If
we're
we don't
gonna
sign
have-
it for whatever reason, he wants everybody in court tomorrow.
Okay, so we don't have, if
If it's
both
approved
parties
tonight-
agree-
And you authorize me to go ahead and sign it and present it to the court tomorrow.
Good, Michelle?
That was my two questions of.
So,
When you call for a vote, I want you to call Mr. Barna last. I'm gonna initially instruct him to abstain insofar as he has a potential economic interest in the outcome. So you'll call him last.
Stop.
okay, it's motion by Trax, second by Lawson. Roll call.
Ms. Dare? Ms. Dare?
I'm sorry, yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Dupree?
I'm actually going to abstain for the reason that the litigation was started before I was on the board, and there hasn't been any executive sessions on this matter that I've been in attendance to since March. And all the documents I received yesterday afternoon, which were 6 attachments, some of them dealing with more than 100 pages each. I just do not feel that I have enough information on voting on this. So I abstain for those reasons.
Mr. Trax?
Yes.
All right, so for the record, we have 3 voting to approve the settlement, and 2 abstaining, with Mr. Barna abstaining because he is a resident, the holding tank is located on his property, and he has indicated that he feels that the current situation has caused a diminution in the value of his property.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 2, approved and